Good evening and namaskar to all of you. Well, it's always a privilege to get invited into such august bodies like Indian Bar Association. And of course, there couldn't have been a better opportunity than to be in the same forum where we have a luminary like Mr. Ram Jethmalani. Mr. Ram Jethmalani has always been a kind of a source of inspiration for all of us. In some manner or the other, wherever we have tried to seek justice, he has always been in the forefront to encourage us, inspire us, and take us forward. For the benefit of some of you who may not know who am I and where I come from, it's been a 30 years journey which started from a city called Jamshedpur in 1983 when we came together to mobilize the citizens on their rights as consumers. At that point of time, there was nothing called a consumer in India. It was all big monopolies. You had to wait for more than 8 years to get a two-wheeler scooter after paying the full money. You would have to wait for 3 years to get a telephone connection, even after paying the full money. And even when you get the telephone connection, you might even have to wait for 6 months to get it activated. And that is where we started, with a lot of anger. My money, I need a service, and the service provider puts their terms and conditions and stares at us and tells us, you take it or you go, without giving us any choice. And that anger made us come together to start seeking a right, or as rights of the consumer, which by then had got established around the world, which we had heard of, but it was not seen in India. So fortunately for us, in 1984, the government of India in Delhi started thinking of how do we proceed in terms of empowering the Indian citizen in terms of their rights as a consumer. So they held the first seminar here, and we were about 20 of us who got invited from all parts of the country to come to Delhi to start thinking about this. While that process started, we were very fortunate that in a way, in 1986, by default, Shri Rajiv Gandhi became the Prime Minister. And when he did become the Prime Minister, the first thing, we got an opportunity, when we got an audience before him as the Prime Minister, was to tell him about how we are being denied our rights as a consumer. And the thing which he said was very, very touching and very encouraging for us was, he said, tell me one thing which I can do for you all. I heard you all for more than 30 minutes, a lot of issues, a lot of challenges. Tell us one thing which you want for the consumer of India. And that was the time when we said that give us a good piece of legislation which will be able to compensate the citizen or the consumer who is paid for the product or service to the extent he deserves, which should be prompt and which should justify in terms of the value for money which he is paid for. And he was very prompt. He immediately called the minister concerned. He told the cabinet secretary. And within 6 months, and this was in 1986, around the month of May, June, we had a dialogue with him. And on 24th of December 1986, the Parliament, cutting across party lines, and of course, we didn't allow the industry to know about it. We did it in the sly, because we had told the government that keep the industry away while we legislate this law, and do it so swiftly and promptly that they shouldn't get a chance to derail it. And it happened like that. Thank God, didn't get leaked. So on 24th of December 1986, the Parliament passed the Consumer Protection Act 1986. That is where the whole movement in terms of the consumer movement in India was triggered. I was in Bihar those days in the sense that Jamshedpur happened to be part of Bihar, and somehow through the Prime Minister I was in touch with the Chief Minister there. So the moment it got legislated in Delhi, I rushed to Patna. I told the Chief Minister that the law has got passed, can you get it done and get it legislated for Bihar? And you won't believe it, that's what I want to share with you all, that if you have the right leadership at the right place in the right manner, how things can move so swiftly in terms of policies and changes which empowers the citizens in terms of getting justice. The Chief Minister of Delhi, Chief Minister of Bihar, immediately passed an ordinance because without wasting any time, and he made Justice R.N. Thakur the first State Commission President of the State Consumer Dispute Redressal Commission, State Commission. Justice R.N. Thakur was known for his honesty and commitment. Sir, I do not know whether you know Justice R.N. Thakur or not. Very well. So, you know how he was. What he did was amazing thing. He started holding the State Commission from the veranda of his residence. And I told him, sir, it is amazing, what made you do this? He said, when I looked at that piece of legislation, I could understand the spirit behind that legislation, and I could understand why people wanted it, and I didn't want to waste even a single minute, because it is such a good piece of legislation in the interest of the consumer. I said, let it start from my veranda. And Mr. K.K. Srivastava, the former Chief Secretary of Bihar, and Rama Devi, a very known freedom fighter, a lady, were the members of the State Commission of Bihar. And they started serving notices from that veranda. And I remember the first case came before them was from me. We were fighting with the banks for, declaring strike, which was illegal, without any notice to the consumers. And for days together, the consumers were not allowed to transact in the banks because of such strikes. And we were the first one to petition before the Bihar State Commission in terms of compensation to the consumer for such illegal activities. Of course, it went up to the National Commission, and that's why the National Commission gave an order. And that's why you will see now that huge... Hi. So Meenakshi ji is here. And yeah, please. Okay. Yeah, come.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I call on stage Mr. Mohan Babu to greet Ms. Meenakshi with a bouquet of flowers? Thank you. Please give a huge round of applause to...
So we only see ourselves in the debates. Now I can see you in person. So nice, Meenakshi ji, while we were all anxiously waiting for you, I was taking them through the history of the consumer movement in the country and where it started and how it is getting built and how we want to take it further with support from people like you all who have been great.
I hope after her arrival you won't forget your speech.
Yes, I will try to control myself. Very good. You see the spirit behind the young person, who is our chief guest. So thank you, sir. So as I was telling you that, you see, the whole spirit of justice comes out of great leadership. Whether it is political, bureaucratic, or social scientists. We all have to understand that if bodies like you all, which Mohan Babu and Kaviraj ji have initiated and given the leadership in terms of the National Bar Association. And as I was talking in the sidelines before the valedictory session, is this youngsters, who are sitting today here, you all have to take care of that baton. You have to hold that baton well, and get to the finishing line, which got started, way back 60 plus years when we became independent and we wanted to see a different India. What I want to share with you all is that there's a lot to do. There's a lot to do. But we need to get focused in terms of what are some of the priorities which we need to do. And we from the consumer movement have always seen my friends in the legal profession as one of our best friends. Why? Because we believe that we respect the law of the land. We believe that we should all move in a very legal manner. And we must be able to empower the citizens in such a manner that they are all able to get the best value out of whether it's governance or it's out of the trade, which is giving them a product or a service for which they are paying their money for. At every point, what we want to sort of convey, through platforms like this is that you all have to come out at many occasions and be seen doing work in a real tangible manner in terms of, other than your professional excellence, how you are giving back to the community, to those people who do not have the voice, who do not have the resources, who do not know how to go about seeking justice, to give them that counseling and giving them that relief. And that is very important. See, we have always tried to bring in a kind of a change in the policy through very robust research, through evidences, which is scientific, which is credible. And we always tried our best to ensure that if we go and spend whatever little resource we have, it should touch everybody. It should be non-discriminatory. It should be for everybody. Whether he's a rich consumer, whether he's a poor consumer, a consumer is a consumer. Whether he's paying out of pocket, whether he is being taken care from the taxpayers' money. But as long as he's been given a product or a service by a government, which is in the public sector or by a private sector, through out-of-pocket expenditure, the whole process has to become accountable. And in order to make the process accountable, what we all need to understand is we have to set the best standards. And the standards comes from the best practices, which you see around you. It need not be that what America is doing, we need to do the same thing here in India. No. What Europe is doing, we need to do it the same way here. No. What I always say is learn something which they have got. You don't need to reinvent the wheel, but it has to be adaptable in terms of our country, our citizens, and our needs. What we always need to do is to consult at every point of time whenever there is a policy to be undertaken. You see, if you see the kind of the mechanism which is working in the governance today, they all want to sort of get into a tight compartment. They don't want to share. They don't want to consult. They will tell you, it was there on the website. How many people look at a website in our country? You see, it was amazing. When I went to UK, I saw when I was trying to do a study on the good governance there, which they called modernizing government and which they called Citizens Charter there. What did I find? Even in UK, I found they were doing publications in Urdu, in Telugu, in Malayali, in Bengali. And I asked them, why do you do this? They said, because we have citizens who only know this language. They have in audio, video, they have in Braille. How many publications in India do we do for the citizens which is in Braille? Or in audio, or in video? Or even in a language like, what a Telugu person would like to read. We never bother. We feel that the moment we have done it in English, the population is covered, everybody is covered, everybody is communicated. Or huge advertisements have come out in Hindi paper, that means everybody knows. Nobody bothers to figure out that what I am trying to communicate, has it reached the last mile? Has it reached there? Do we get a feedback from them? Can we consult them for whom we are making these policies? Has anybody bothered who makes the policy in the parliament to go and find out, is it for them? And they will always, with one voice, tell me, Bhai, hum bhi to wahi ke hain. So what? You are from there. You have a right to ask them. How many times do you visit that constituency? How much time do you visit in terms of trying to understand, to have a kind of a good open meeting? People are hiding themselves. They don't want to see to be criticized. They never like to be seen to be criticized. Because they are not open to suggestions, they're not open to improvement. And that's the challenge. We all need to learn in terms of listening to people and be criticized for what we are doing as wrong. That's the fundamental. In fact, that is what I would like to convey today. You have to have the skill to listen to people, to find out your negatives, and convert that into a positive to improve and grow. And the whole consumer movement, I can assure you, with my small exposure, is that till you don't look at a feedback of a consumer or a citizen as an opportunity for growth, that country can never develop. So friends, at a lighter side, it's not that difficult. It's not big rocket science. It's not something out of the world. It's something very simple which my elders used to do, which we are forgetting. You see that baitak in the Chaupal, that consultation with everybody.